All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Duckman TV here with a special guest tonight, Matty Engesser. So, for people who's not familiar with Matty, he is a young triathlete who does a lot of stuff with Western Sydney Academy of Sport. Matty, thanks for your time tonight. Really appreciate you making yourself available, particularly on the evening of a night you did like an event this morning. So, I was unable to get out to, but wow. So tell us about that. So how did you go today? Was it a duathlon in the end? Because I didn't do one of the events.
Yeah, so what happened was the water was like unswimmable, so it was too disgusting to swim in, and the quality of water wasn't good, so it got changed to a duathlon. Originally, was supposed to do a sprint distance, which is a 750 swim, 20K bike, 5K run, but
Yeah.
changed it to a 2K run, followed by a 10K bike, finishing with a 2K run. Overall, went pretty well, like solid start, quick start. Everyone went pretty fast. First K was flying.
Yeah.
Got on the bike, felt super solid. Felt like I was holding that good tempo pace on my new fresh bike that I got a month ago. Yeah, and transitions really fast. Fast and you get good to be back in that normal routine, and then get off the bike. Had one of the fastest run splits in the at the day in that 2 kilometer sprint after the bike. So it's pretty good.
So I'm surprised you. So I played sport for years, and I hated running. I played soccer and footy, and that if I had to do laps, it used to kill me. So, and I got the decent level of footy, and I just didn't. I just still didn't like doing it. So I take my hat off to you doing 2K and 5K runs on the back of a swim or a ride as well. So that must be different. Um, how did you get into the world of triathlon?
Well, funny story. So back when I was younger, in primary school, because I was just doing cross country, and my one of these person came up to me and said, "Is your son diagnosed with cerebral palsy?" And to my parents, and they were like, "Yeah." And they asked, "Oh, should I do some multi-class races for cross country?" So I got entered in cross country, competed nationally for cross country, and then lockdown obviously happened, and everything came to an end. But when the Paralympics came on in Tokyo 2021, I was watching the opening ceremony, and I saw para-triathlon was a sport that I was able to do. So I asked my mum, "Can I do para-triathlon?" She's like, "Yeah, sure. Should I look into it?" That week, we emailed Hills Tri Club or Triathlon Club
Yeah.
if if I'm able to do a triathlon. And yeah, they said, "Yeah, come and try." So I did one of my first triathlons there, did pretty well, and I just ever since I fell in love, and like I've just never stopped training since then. Have the confidence now, and pretty well been very successful after that. Since
Yeah. So how old are you now, Maddie?
I am just turned 16 this week.
Super young. You got the world ahead of you. So how long do you reckon you have been started off doing the running and all that before you got into the triathlon? Because obviously that was only a couple of years ago now. You did triathlon.
Mm. Yeah, I started like running back in 2016, just like recreational stuff, but I got competitive around 2017 because made the national team for the first time. Got in cross country, got second at nationals in the under 10 age group for multi class, which was pretty good as my first nationals. But like I've enjoyed running ever since. But what got me into that triathlon period was that I just didn't enjoy doing that short distance of triathlon. I wanted to put more pain into my life, and I was like, I enjoy bike riding. I hated swimming, but I enjoy bike riding. I was like, why didn't I just give it a try? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it fits in well.
Yeah, that
Mm,
sounds good. So,
mm.
um, you have cerebral palsy. I didn't realize you had cerebral palsy. So, how do you manage the cerebral palsy, and what sort of setbacks or things do you have to do to prevent it from giving you problems, and how do you manage it with pain? I've interviewed a couple of people before who have cerebral palsy, and they tell me how they manage it and to be able to compete in different sports.
Well, I am right-sided hemiplegic cerebral palsy, which is mainly just my right side, nothing on my left.
Yeah,
But the way I manage it is I go to physio every Monday, and she gives me like a 30-minute rub down and a 30-minute exercise to just keep looking after it. So it makes me like I have to go each year, go to once a year, go to a doctor, that like a yearly checkup, see how I'm going. This is gonna be my last year doing the checkup, so because I'm getting old now. But when I was younger, I was pretty pretty heavily with cerebral palsy, but now it's a lot mild now because I'm just so used to that, like not even knowing that I have it. Like people go up to me and say, "Don't even realize that I have it," which is good because I don't like say that I'm just like disabled or I have cerebral palsy. It's just that I go out as a normal person as they do, but
yeah.
that's how I overcome everything. Just try. Mm,
Yeah, I don't think anyone should look at it any
mm,
differently at all. That's the same thing for the guys I know through rugby. You said they got cerebral palsy and it affects their arms and wrists. People think because they've got cerebral palsy, they've got a mental disability as well. And these guys, one of them's got like degrees in all sorts of stuff. So he's really switched on. He's a really switched on guy. And I said the biggest thing, he gets pain if he doesn't work on treatment
mm.
and injury rehab stuff to be able to keep exercising. You've got to try to keep it all moving to keep it functioning.
Yeah, it's painful because your muscles get like really tight, and if you they will start cramping up. I know some people who've got really bad, where as soon as they finish a race, they just start spazzing up, and their whole muscles just don't cooperate, and they just go crazy. I'm very blessed that my cerebral palsy is very mild, and I'm still able to do things like run and walk, which is and ride a bike because people have to can't even ride a bike.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
what school do you go to in around the Blacktown? Do you go on to like any particular schools that uh, strive for sports excellence and stuff like that?
I just go to Catholic school in Castle Hill called Guru Catholic College,
Yep.
which is yeah located in Castle. So it's not in the Blacktown area; it's more in the hills area.
Yep. So, what's their sports programs like in triathlon? Do they give you a lot of support at school for what you do and help you advance what you're trying to do for your career, para athletics?
There's not that much toward the school system really. They just send you up, list you up, and just be under the school system. But no, there's not that much support with the school system. It's more with outside the school system. More the China New South Wales organisation actually support me more.
Yeah.
So this, yeah, the school is just another pathway if I want to compete nationally.
Yeah. So the Western Sydney Academy of Sport, how did you become involved in that? And how long you been involved with the Western Sydney Academy of Sport?
So this is my third year with the Western Sydney Academy of Sport. This year I'm an ambassador. So last 2 years I've been like with West SAS, like just full time. This year an ambassador, so I'm just trying to promote it now. But I got into West SAS as a person told me if I wanted to compete in triathlons competitively, I should be within the regional academy. So they got me into I got my mum applied for Western Sydney Academy, got in, went to my first training session with a mountain bike. Nothing, no cleats, nothing. Had fun. Next day, I went to a triathlon on a road bike. Went well. Met coaches, everything. Coach was nice. Um, but ever since with West House, I had opportunities like going to like getting medals, getting trophies, getting the Para of the year in Western Sydney Academy, able to do camps like
Yeah.
Pursue 32 that I just recently went to
Yeah.
that I got nominated to go to. So it's been a pretty privilege to be with Western Sydney Academies.
Yeah. So today you had 2K run, 10K ride, 2K run. How long that take you to punch that out?
Oh, if we want to break down the stats, it's took me around 34 minutes and 20 seconds, but it It's was more like a tempo slash 90% effort, like because
Yeah.
it's getting towards just trying to get back to that triathlon season. Because that was like one of my first races back. Because we just finished cross country season the winter.
Okay.
They we had that triathlon period break. That's why I was excited to do a full triathlon, but because I haven't done a triathlon at all this season, it's
Yeah.
because it's all being too cold or the water's just not quality's been terrible.
Yeah. So obviously you're tapering up to it. So when do you expect you're going to hit your peak for the season for triathlon for running? Obviously swimming. Have you sunk a lot of time into swimming at the moment this year, or focus
Oh,
more on the running and riding?
well, like off season, it was more focusing on my swimming and my running, obviously for cross country. But as I'm not from a swimming background, I probably hit usually when I was in triathlon season, I was doing around 6, 7 Ks of swimming. But when I was in the off season, I was doing around 12 to 14 Ks of swimming. So I had to up it, get because if I want to get in that fun pack, I've got to get that fast swim out of the way.
Yeah.
But yeah. Mm.
So are you doing this per session or every day? So you're doing like 6 to 7 Ks a day, or it's getting done in one session?
So it's more like I do 4 swim sessions a week, which is basically averaging like 3 Ks a session.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, I do 3 solo sessions. So which is um, Monday, Tuesday, and Sunday is a solo session. But on Thursdays, I go to my triathlon coach down at Camden, and he like corrects me technique, tells me, this is what you improve on the next 3 sessions I don't see you for, and just try and improve that. And then next time I see him, see the improvements in the gains I made from doing those solo sessions.
Yeah. So in regard to the swimming element of it, do you do open water swims to train for this, or you do a lot of pool sessions for conditioning and then some open water from time to time as you need it?
Mm. Well, I train in pool like all the time, but like once a month I'll probably go to an open water session because we're not really close to a beach. We're more in the rural areas of
Yeah.
Western Sydney. So we'll probably once a month. My triathlon coach sets a session for an open water swimming session down at Cronulla Beach, and we do probably like 3 to 4 Ks down there with wetsuits on, practicing like getting the wetsuit off and on. But not that many open water swimmings, more in the pool swims where
Yeah.
I will do it. Mm.
Saying you still build the conditioning and that. So how often are you riding? Are you doing the same with riding and running? You're just focusing on a weekly target amount?
Yeah, so every week is just the same. Basically, it's 4 bike rides a week, 5 runs a week, and 4 swims a week. It's we just keep it the same. We don't push it that much. If it's like going towards an event, we just taper it down. But
Yeah.
like the bike sessions more like Tuesdays and Thursdays an indoor bike ride, and then Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays is an outdoor bike ride, getting big Ks out there. But the indoor session's more like hitting those like power and getting those big power. But the run sessions are more Monday and Friday easy day runs, and then Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday is more those tempo day runs.
Yeah. So, how do you stack up in the normal events when you're competing? So, time wise and place wise, compared to, let's say, para athletes. I imagine there's not stacks of para athletes that are doing triathlons, but how are you comparing against everybody, the whole general group of people?
Well, where I compare with everyone, like when I compete in this role, is I compete as just an able-bodied athlete. So I just compete
Yep.
against everyone, and that I'm basically in the middle of everyone. So I'm not the slowest, but I'm not the fastest. So
Yeah.
I'm getting those results in between. So I'm in that good like B or C final. But when I compete nationally, I compete against other paras. I'm in the Australian para triathlon junior para triathlon squad, which is contains 4 athletes, me, another New South Wales bloke, and then 2 Queenslanders.
Yeah.
And we've got a camp coming up in October. I think it's at Victoria and that new Essendon like facilities area, and that's where we train. And that's we just meet up. We do a 4-day camp, and we
Yeah.
just get our skills back up for triathlon. Because in a para triathlon is very different to a body triathlon, where in a body triathlon we're allowed to draft, and so we're allowed to get in that people slipstream. But when we're in para triathlon, get we have to change up the style, and we've got to go in that non-drafting system. So we can't let her be in that back of that wheel of other bike riders, or we'll be disqualified or get penalties. So
Okay. Yeah.
it's a different change from that just doing that racing in New South Wales when you're competing nationally, and you have to change up what you've been doing. So you got to think about that.
Yeah. So when you start doing a triathlon, just in general, so you start off with run leg first, swim, and bike ride to finish it. Is that normally what happens?
No, swim, bike, run.
Yeah, swim, bike ride, and
Yeah,
then run, finish it.
yeah.
Yeah, rightio. So when you're running, are you pacing yourself like you trying to be a like front runner, or you're just keeping up with the middle of the pack and time where you're going to make your moves, or how do
So
you focus your strategy?
so usually I'm like one of the last people to get in the water. So I try and make the gains on the bike. And when I try and make the gains on the bike, I'm probably not even on with see people. So when I'm going off the bike and onto the run, my first instinct is just go out hard, try and catch as many people as I can, knock them one by one. Usually it works most of the time. I don't really pace myself because the distances are really short. They're like 1.5 kilometers or
Okay, yeah,
a K. So like you just go full sprint. It's like 4 minutes of pain and it's done, really. So
yeah,
you just got to get out there and just give it all after the event. But it's really hard to pace when it's that short distance. When it's that long 5K, then you pace yourself and see like, hey, maybe the first K I'll go for a 3:30 and then whole day 3:40. And then last K you'll just give it all after that.
yeah. So in the event you went in today, so you're 16, did you just go in against other people your own age or a little bit older, or completely open event for anybody?
All ages I competed, all ages, and it's people younger than me, people older than me, because it was a club event. It wasn't a competitive event, so it was like
Oh yeah,
people who just come and try, really, Penrith Try Club, yeah.
yeah. So are you competing against a lot of the same people when you get to state and national levels? The same, like over and over again. So you've got consistent people that are there and thereabouts you're up against, or are there different people coming through you don't see from time to time because they're new to triathlon?
Oh no, you usually compete with the same people when in New South Wales. You compete with basically the same people all the time.
Yeah,
But when you compete in that national, then you'll see like maybe new faces that you've never competed for, maybe like came out of nowhere, or yeah, you basically compete the same people and see who's improved and
yeah,
who's your competition is and every time.
yeah. Have you gone to any international events or anything like that at the moment with the para triathlon team or anything?
No, but I've just turned 16, so this is which made me I'm able to now compete internationally because there's an age limit where you're
Oh
allowed to
yeah,
compete internationally. So we're going to try and get internationally classified, and as soon as we get internationally classified and get categorized by the AIS, I am officially able to compete into Oceania Championships, which is
yeah,
international races, and I compete in Oceania Championships. And the big goal for this triathlon season, my coach and I set, is to try and compete the big races this year, like Yokohama and Davenport, which is two big Oceania races where people or para triathletes compete and see the best on the day, and all
yeah,
different classifications and everything.
yeah. So in your age category, so like a 16 to 18 age group, uh, how big is triathlon as a whole? Like how many people are competing in it at the top levels?
Well, in like the able-bodied, like in that New South Wales system, in the 16 age group, it's pretty like there's probably about 50, 60 people. So there's a
Yeah,
huge people about it. But when you compare that internationally, it's all open. So you verse people who are probably 40 years old, and
yeah,
you're just a 16-year-old kid competing against them.
yeah,
So when you're in that international level, it's all just opens and there's no age limit. So you might be the youngest there, but you're still showing up. But when you're in that lower level, in that New South Wales level, you're in that junior category, which is 16 to 18, as you said before.
Yeah. So what do you do to prepare, like from nutrition point of view and all of that for training? Because obviously the training, I imagine what you're training 6 days a week at least, or maybe
7,
every day. Seven,
yeah,
yeah. So
7, yeah, no
so
rest.
you feel the love every day training, or you get some days where you just go, oh, I'll just rather not do it today.
Oh, I love my training. I train on my birthday because I just
Yeah.
love it. Yeah, I, 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 I love training because it gives me an opportunity where I always think about myself. If I don't train, that person, my competition is training on that day, and they're making the
Yeah.
gains while you're just sitting around, not doing it. Like you're just doing nothing when they're training and making the gains. So if you miss that one day, well, you missed it one day, but then that person, that competition is a day ahead of you now. You don't want to keep making them get ahead. You want to get ahead of them.
Yeah, well, when you get to that level, it's the little one
Mm.
percenters. It is the
Yeah,
extra bits and pieces you do and your nutrition and all that. Does your coach work on nutrition plan and what you should be eating and all that and
yeah.
supplements and that as well with you? Have you got a nutritionist and that sort of stuff that work with you as well?
Not really, not like a he doesn't have a plan, but we have multiple, like, Zoom meetings like these where we get all the, like, triathlon New South Wales people go on a Zoom meeting and they get the nutritionist on, and they tell you what's good to eat. I've probably been around about, like, 20 nutrition meetings 'cause it's just what the sport does. Like, they wanna keep your nutrition up. Like, I've learnt so much from those Zoom meetings that I know exactly what I eat before race and what I have to eat after race, and then what I have to do to prepare like the day before and what I have to eat. And it's just become a natural routine to do now when I race.
Yeah, it sounds like a better routine than what I used to use when I was playing football and soccer and having two or three meat pies and a couple of cans of Coke or something before a game. So, do you ever have cheat days when you can have a bit of whatever you feel like, or is it takes away too much? Do you feel it in your training when you're back at training the next day?
You're allowed to have one cheat day a week, like something little, but not too much. Like when it's your birthday, you can definitely have a cheat day on your birthday, but
Yeah,
anything else, like you can still have that little, that one chocolate bar or that little snake, like lolly snake you can have. But
yeah,
it doesn't that's what I'm only young still. When I'm on that elite level, I'll probably change it up still, but
yeah,
I'm still in high school, still got to develop. So
yeah.
I like to have that like little snack thing once or twice a week.
Yeah. So from personal point of view, your coach that you've got, you have a personal coach then Western Sydney Academy of Sport, give you another coach as well. Then obviously when you get to national level for para triathlete, they've got, I imagine, a head coach as well. How does your coaches work in when you go up the higher levels and stuff like that?
So with my main triathlon coach, he like I just listen to everything he says, or my main triathlon coach. So when I do the session he plans for me on an app, I do the session he plans for me. But with the Western Sydney Academy coach, I listen to him on when I need to, but I know in my head I know he's not my full-time coach, so I just
Yeah,
do what he tells me to do. But I'll just double check it with my actual coach, seeing if it's am I all right doing this? Am I gonna get an injury from doing this? So he knows what everything I do and sees, okay, if I'm doing this, maybe back off. If I'm doing a bigger bike session, maybe back off the run session in the afternoon.
yeah,
So he just making sure I'm keeping up the same training load he wants me to do and nothing to be added. But when I'm in that Australian pathway, there's obviously a head coach, but they do talk to each other and see, okay, this is what he does, so this is what he should do when he's at the camps and stuff. So they obviously communicate to each other, so they
yeah.
know what they're doing.
Yeah, so they've got that level of communication there and make sure they're doing what's best for the athlete. Because obviously, coach who doesn't see it every day, they don't know what your
Mm,
routine is unless they're
yeah.
communicating with your other full-time coach that you've got. So that would be interesting. Have you got any good mentors or anything that you look up to, or people who've been fabulous to you with advice and help since you've been doing triathlon?
I do have some couple of mentors. I had one person. down at the CPA Alliance headquarters down in Alemby Heights. Guy named Peter King, who's basically been my lifesaver. Really, he's just always been there. He's former triathlete himself, but he's like the person, like the head of sport for Cerebral Palsy Alliance, and he looks after me. Does like basically without him, I wouldn't be doing triathlons because
Yeah.
he's given me money to get me a bike. He's given me the opportunities to like compete. He's given me opportunities to meet huge athletes. But he's been one of my main people I do look up to and see like, uh, that's what I want to be. But just be a generally nice person to everyone and just give out a hand to everyone. But in competition worlds, I do look up to some people like the elite athletes. There's a guy who's same classification named Joey Peacock, who I look up to as he basically has the same disability as me, just on the different side, and he basically has a similar life story to me. So I just look up to him, and I just think of that could be me one day, and I could be up with that level versing him, being like him.
Yeah. I think that's really good ambition to have. Have you ever spoken to him personally?
Yeah, yeah, we had a catch up couple of months ago when he was competing. So good to catch up. We learnt so much about him and his life stories and how he got into the sport as well. But he was a just he wanted to just give it a try like what I was doing. Yeah, just enjoyed it.
Yeah. So have you ever thought, Penrith has been pretty good since the lake system's been out here for like
Mm.
35 years now. They've been able to have swimming and also got triathlons going. Um, have you seen Penrith? Have you competed in any of the Penrith triathlons that have been out the last few years out this way?
I competed. That was the one at this morning. I was
Ah, so
there
that's
this
what that
morning.
one was
Yeah,
this morning. Oh, yeah.
yeah. But no, I've competed there mostly. They got damaged by one the floods like 2 years ago, so we
Oh,
haven't done
yeah.
that full loop for a while, but I see some progress today. Excavators are doing some work on it now, so hopefully soon enough we can do that full loop again, but right now we're just doing some, like, half the loop.
Yeah. So where does the loop go? Right around the whole lake system, does it? So it starts off where the regatta centre itself is and what goes down to effectively the river and does the whole big circuit as 5Ks, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I used to do when it was before the floods, but now what we have to do now is that we instead of going your right way, we go left and we just go out and back. We just do a U-turn out and back
Yeah.
because we haven't done the loop for a while because it's just possible because it's just no unsafe. People probably can get like off the bike, get injured. So we just have to do the out and back loop.
Yeah. So have you ever thought about participating in the Hawaiian Ironman or anything like that? Is that something you're going, I'm doing it, so I'm going to go on Wide World of Sports and I'm doing it.
Oh, I do wanna compete Ironman when I'm, like, old, like, when I'm
Yeah.
fully retired, but not really. It's never been a goal of mine, like, Ironman. My goal is to get in the Paralympics and compete world and try and get on that podium and hold a Paralympic medal and have it around my neck and just saying that I could achieve, and this is what I could have done, and this is the highest level I've been able to get up to, because this is the highest you'll be able ever. So that's like my main goal is to go to that Paralympic level and compete and possibly try and give my shot to win it.
Yeah. So, uh, in the para athlete team that you're in now, what's the age of the other guys that are in this team that you're in with?
Oh, so the age, basically, they're all juniors now. So there's a
Yeah,
junior group, and then there's that senior group where they're basically because the sport's only new, and so
yeah,
they're trying to still try and get athletes, and there's not that many people in the field, so they're trying to get junior athletes. So that's why there's only four of us, but they're trying to get more and more every time. But the age group is the kid in New South Wales is I think turning 14 this year and same as the kid in Queensland, but the person in the other girl in Queensland, she's my age, and she's already competed internationally. So we're trying to slowly build up the juniors to compete because we're trying to start them young, and when we like get them young, we can once they're older, they're one of the
Yeah,
best already.
and build a team for like long
Mm,
term. So what would
yeah,
it take to qualify for the Paralympics? How many people can they take in the triathlon for Australia?
I don't not really sure. I can't really confirm it, but I know in Paralympics they take two Australian athletes per category per like
Yeah,
classification, but like, I think they can take as many as if you make the qualifying standards. If you get that qualifying standards, you make the national team and compete internationally. It's not like, oh, because there's not that many people when they compete. Like, there's probably like only like 11, 12 people per classification group. It's not
yeah,
like there's like more than 100 people competing, and that's where you've got to send 3 athletes. But you can just basically get the qualifying standards, they send you out and they just
yeah.
see if you can have it.
Still, you should be happy with that, but still Olympic
Yeah,
standards. So you're the
yeah,
top in the world. That's pretty high level to
great.
get to. So did you ever think when you were younger that you could actually do it and think, I actually might have a chance of potentially making the Olympics or the Paralympics or anything like that? Or did you just start off this little venture as a bit of fun and just like running and just grew from there?
I always wanted to compete internationally. I always wanted to represent my country, but like I never really think, oh, crikey, I could have a chance here. But now I'm now seeing it like every time a day goes by, I'm getting closer and closer to that. Oh, yeah, I can get there. Because when I was younger, I was like, oh, I'm just doing this for fun. The events I was doing, I'm a long distance athlete. I wasn't a short distance athlete, and the races I was doing was short distance, and I was beating most of the people. It's just that it wasn't the events I was enjoying, and I know when I was competing at national level, there were other better athletes beating me. So I was like, is there another sport that I can do that I can compete internationally and possibly go to the Paralympics and get in that sport? And that's why when I saw triathlon on the TV, I was like, oh yeah, I'll probably give that a shot, see if I have a chance to make that Paralympic standards. And every day it gets closer and closer.
Yeah. So your bike that you've got, is it one of these carbon fiber super lightweight ones that's about as heavy as a fishing rod?
Yeah, yeah, it is like just full carbon, everything, like to a point where the bottle cages are carbon.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so the whole difference is they're trying to get everything like as the guy we bought the bike, they said 3 years ago on the Tour de France, your bike will probably be the best bike out there. So it's like if they know what they're doing, that the bike companies know what they're doing, that's why they're making it expensive. So it's everything's carbon. It's really lightweight, and when you're out there, you feel fast. You don't feel slow at all.
Yeah. How durable is the bike? Like if you stack the bike, is it gonna be all right, or is it gonna take a bit of a turn for the worse?
Hopefully, it stays in one piece when I stack it because I haven't done anything. But I've never like experienced a bad stack. I have stacked it on my old bike before, but that was like not carbon fiber. It was only the frame, and
Yeah,
it seemed pretty durable. But I'm pretty nervous to stack on this bike, so see what happens.
yeah. So you love running and you love cycling. Have you done any half marathons or like the city to surf or anything like that to test yourself a bit from the running point of view?
I wish, but I don't do any half or full marathons. I'm too young. I think I'm able to do half hours, but I'm not being a fan of that long running.
Yeah.
More that
Some more
5K
middle
distance, 5 to
distance.
10K. Yeah, 5 to 10K distance
Yeah.
because that's a good distance and I can get a high pace up and hold that.
Yeah, because I was going to say I met a person a while ago who told me they love running so much they ran from
Mm.
Sydney to Canberra and took a couple of days to get down there and then turn around and run back. They could have got the car back, but
Yeah.
I went, that's pretty keen. You only needed to
I'm
run one
I'm
way.
yeah, I'm just in that like middle because it's like I hate sprinting. Like I've never been a sprinter. I
Yeah,
try to sprint and I just don't go fast. But
Yeah.
when I do like long runs, like, oh, it's painful. I don't want to be there. I just feel like poo every time like get that distance. That's why 5K. Ever since the 5K, it's been that perfect amount of the speed I'm at.
Yeah. So where do you feel for when you're getting the pain from the lactic acid and all the burn things that are going to come from like loading your body up, which are going to happen? Is it affecting you more when you're swimming because that's not something you're really 100% accustomed with and it's your least comfortable discipline, or is it coming through running, or are you feeling it at the end of cycling when you've been on the bike wrapping up the whole leg?
Oh, the swimming's like, 'cause it's the first one, I don't get that much pain. I just like, oh, once it's over because I hate the swim. Like,
Yeah,
I dislike it much. Like, that's why I like at the start because like once it's done, it's done. Then you get the fun begin. It's like then your
yeah,
next two legs is your fun legs. So once the swim's done, I just go and then the bike and then the run. And when you're off the bike, you're in pain, but I like the pain. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm loving it when I hit the run.
yeah. So right now you're 16, you're heading towards the end of the year. Have you got any championships or anything coming up like that at school or state and nationals? Anything notable this year or early next year?
Oh, I just recently came back from national cross country, which went well, got third place. But that was like the season ender for cross country. But now this end of this year, it's like triathlon season starts. We're doing a bunch of like diligence races with that Tri New South Wales holds, and they just like we get all the triathlon New South Wales people competing in like competitive events, and they do like heats and finals and everything. But there's the one big race that everyone goes to is like Canberra or All Schools Triathlon Nationals. Like Canberra is coming up around uh I think it's the start of next year, like the very start of next year in January. So that's like the big event that everyone does. It's like all short distances, but it's like 3 days of hard work. So it's just non-stop work.
Yeah. So who's your biggest supporter you got? Your mum's your biggest supporter?
Yeah, my mum takes me everywhere as a taxi driver. Yeah,
Yeah.
biggest supporter out there every time. Yeah, she's been to every single one probably.
Yeah. Did she ever get into running or swimming or cycling? Was she into any of those things before
Oh,
you come along or even after you were born? Was she doing any of that?
she used to do cross country when she was very, very young, like back in high school, but like she used to be in netball a lot. But what got me into running was my dad. My dad does like he does marathons and halves, or used to, but now he's just old and breaks down every time he runs. But no, he's the one of the reasons I got into running because my sister used to do running. My like just them two used to run, and I always enjoy running. Had that endurance in me, that big heart.
Yeah. Well, makes a massive difference.
Mm.
So, what does the future look like for you moving forward? So, what's your goals going to be for 2024 and that at the moment? So, I believe the Paralympics is coming up next year. Are you eligible to try to qualify for that?
I'm eligible to qualify for that, but there's two other PTS4 athletes out there that are there's one that's faster than me, and there's one possibly that's faster, but we don't know yet. So they'll probably send them out, and because they're older than me, they'll probably send them out. They're more aiming for me for 2028 when I'm
Yep.
able to expose myself into that international environment instead of just going straight to that Paralympics. They probably want me to expose myself to those smaller international races and then build me up to those bigger races.
And get
But
some
like,
experience. Yeah.
yeah, get the experience. That's why this 2023-2024 season of triathlon, the big goal is just making the international level,
Yep.
seeing what it's like, getting that getting exposed to all the athletes around the world, being able to just compete, seeing what I've been able to do, and then work on that to the future, and then see if I'm like, all right, am I what do I have to improve for the next Olympics coming up, the Paralympics that's coming up, and then that's what I'll be improve on.
Yep. So, can you make a professional living as a triathlete or a para triathlete?
Hopefully, but No, I do have like a plan on my future when I want to go out of school. Like as soon as I want to go out of school, I'm going to try and go in university. Like everything's planned out what I do. I want to be a social worker, work for the Cerebral Palsy Alliance, try and just give back what I got started from. And that's what I want to because I always enjoy helping people, and that's what how I want to work. But also want to balance it with triathlon. So we've basically already planned out what I want to do in the future. So hopefully there's no problems or barriers along the way, but that's so far what I'm planning to do. It might change if I hit when I hit year 11 and 12 next year.
Yeah, that's a really fantastic ambition to
Mm.
be able to give back because there's a lot of. So I never got to the level you got to in sport, but I like being able to give back and enjoy seeing that I can help other people out in different ways. And I think it's good that you give back to the community in general through sports and other ways at all. Yeah, it's really good. Have you ever thought about maybe coaching in the future when you get to the end of your competitive days or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah. I've think about coaching before because just coaching is like a good way to show the younger athletes the level of skill that they can able to do and show them what I was able to do. Like when I was their age, I probably was able to do this and that. So coaching has always been a thing that I've always I can do coaching when I'm like
Yeah,
when I'm older. But when I'm in that elite pathway, I probably won't be coaching because I'll be put too heavily into that training and
yeah,
putting coaching on top will probably be like even more painful and more stressful in my living conditions. So
yeah.
so far, if it comes to mind that if I do want to ever coach, it would be a good option for me as well because I can just show them the skills I've done.
Yeah. So, do you feel like you could be a mentor in the future for other younger people who've got like people brand as disability? It's not disability; it's just a different ability, right? So you've got cerebral palsy, and you learn to deal with it. What would you like to
Yeah,
tell other people out there that have got some sort of physical or mental disability that might impair them? What could you tell them to motivate them and inspire them a bit?
yeah. Give it a try. Just give everything a go. Don't never say I can't. Say I can do. Because remember when you say I can't, your mindset just goes out and your mindset's terrible. If you just have that good mindset and you just think positive all the time and never think there's negatives, just think that you're just a normal person. You're the same as everyone else. You're just being affected with a disability. But
Yeah,
just don't think that way. Just think positive that if they're able to do it, I can be able to do it. So if you just overcome that, and people are not going to judge you along the way. People are going to think, wow, they'll be inspired by what you've been doing and being able to get in that high level that you can be able to achieve with a disability. And it's a good feeling when you do it, when you have that good mindset to everything, because it's not only good for the sport, but it's also good for everything else. That mindset you do, it's good towards your family, good towards your like school, good towards your friends, and you feel really good when you have that just positiveness to you and that no negative, and you're just giving everything a go, not backing down or anything, just doing what you can achieve basically.
absolutely.
Mm.
Matty, thank you very much for your time tonight. I really appreciate it. So everybody that's watching this now, they will be able to catch this on Duckman TV a bit later on YouTube and Facebook. Be able to catch this will be a podcast as well on Weekend Warriors coming up next week. And you'll be able to catch an article about Matty Engesser and his ventures into the future in the Blacktown Independent magazine for October. So, Matty, thank you very much for your time. I really look forward to seeing your progress along the way and staying in touch with you as well. And fingers crossed, we'll see you in many world championships and also competing in the 2028 Paralympics for Australia.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
It's
Much appreciated.
absolutely, it's my pleasure. Absolutely love it. And also thank you to Madeline from Western Sydney Academy of Sports for helping tee this up. It was very much appreciated indeed. So, Matty and guess everybody, he's absolutely delightful guy. Keep on ducking, everyone. This will go up onto YouTube later on, and you'll catch it a bit later.